WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner, Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's the Community Bell Show with your host, Edna Bell. Thank you so much for joining us again this Monday. You know, it was raining last Monday, and it's raining again this Monday. But in a minute, we're going to have sunshine. I just know it's coming.
Yes, it is.
I just know it's coming. I see the green grass and the lovely flowers, so I know
Yes.
the sun is coming. I know Laura's just giving this to us for some good reason, and we're going to go with that. But the sun is coming. Thank you so much for joining us again. And you know, as usual, it's Monday and it's 4 o'clock, and I'm going to talk about the census. For all of those out there who have not heard, it's census time, 2020 census. Now, I know some of you think that you shouldn't fill it out. You said you're not going to fill it out. But it is so important that you do fill it out. The census did a survey last year, and what they decided was to see what people thought about filling out the census and why they were not filling it out. They sent out 50,000 surveys. They got about 17,000 back, so about 35%. And then they did some focus groups. They did, I think, about 14 different focus groups, and then they did about 7 of people who don't speak English. And one of the things they found out is that people who are of color don't fill it out because they don't trust the government. They felt that their information might be used against them at some point in time, and so they were not filling it out. Been talking to the census people, do know that the government doesn't see your information, and they don't ask you things that would put you in any kind of jeopardy. And if anybody shares anything on those census reports, there is a penalty. There's a 5 years prison sentence to go with it, along with a large fine. So don't worry about the government seeing your stuff, because they're not coming to get you because of what you put on your census form, number one. Number two is that they said people under 30 don't fill it out because they just don't think it's important. Well, I need you to know that every person who does not fill out the census form, your area loses $1,800 per person. $1,800, and not just for 1 year, it's for the next 10 years. So it is so important that you fill out that form. Do everything you can to talk to your neighbors and everybody else to convince them to fill the form out. If you want a job at the Census Bureau, go to 2020census.gov/jobs. So that's what happens if you want to get a job at the Census Bureau. So important. So now that I've talked to you about my census stuff for the day, I'm going to introduce our wonderful guest. We've got a new county commissioner in Wayne County, and so that you know, Wayne County is the 17th largest county in the country and the largest county in the state of Michigan. So that's pretty doggone big, about 1.8 million people in Wayne County. That's bigger than some states. So Wayne County is real important to not only this state, but important to the entire country. So welcome to Wayne County Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Bell, for having me, or should I say Commissioner Bell?
Either one works. So you're young enough to call me Ma Bell. All the rest of them call me Ma Bell, and I answer.
Ma Bell.
It's okay.
All right, Mama Bell. Mama Bell. Well, you know, I just really appreciate you having me. I always have looked up to you, you know, as a commissioner now. I know that you paved my way, because I would not be here if it wasn't for you. Wow. So I appreciate you and all that you have done.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That is very, very kind of you to say. But I am just so proud of you and how hard you worked and how you just stuck to it until you won that race, because you knew it was yours to win. And I'm just proud about that. Proud that you did.
But you know, I know that I could be that because you were that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I appreciate you so much.
Oh my, I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But not only is Commissioner McCormick a Wayne County Commissioner representing the 6th District, she's also a woman business owner. As you know, May is Women Business Owner Month for me, so I'm interviewing women business owners, and she is one of those women business owners that we're interviewing. So talk to us about your business, Monique.
Well, I have been in real estate since 1994.
Oh my.
Yes, that was where I first got into it. And it's interesting when people ask me, well, why did you choose real estate? I was working for EDS at the time. I had just graduated with my master's degree and started in the workforce. And I started at EDS, and I was working there, and it was a very strict corporate environment and so different from what I had anticipated. So I worked there and made a little money because it was some good money.
Yes.
And decided that I was going to buy a house. And this was my first house. I was about 25. And as I was looking for a house, I ended up getting a realtor to help me find the house. And so the realtor is taking me around to various homes, but she didn't really do much to help me through the process. She was just like, here's some houses, but that, that was it.
That was it.
And so in the end, we closed on a house. She got some money for
That's 6%.
right, helping me buy my first home. But I said to myself that if she could do this, I know I could do this, and I could do a much, much better job, right? And so that is really how I ended up in real estate. I went and I took my state exam, my classes and my state exam, and I ended up quitting my job at EDS. And I went into real estate full force, and the first 2 years, the second year, I ended up the bestseller in the office.
All right.
And I worked for Red Carpet Kind, right on Greenfield. Richard Session was my broker, and he was a black male real estate owner. And I really admired him, and knowing that he was in business for himself, I decided, I could do this too, right?
There you go. I can be that too.
I can be that too. I can be anything I want to
That's
be
right.
if I put my mind to it, and if I gain the education and knowledge, and then took the time, to learn the things that I needed to know, then I could do that. And so I went to school, back to school to get my broker's license. And of course I had the numbers, because you're supposed to have a number of sales before you can get your broker's license. And shortly before I got my broker's license, I moved from this larger firm to a smaller firm with Harriet Crosby. I worked with her for about a year, and then she, gave me my wings and said, okay, you can fly and be your own
Harriet's
boss.
had an office in this building.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yes.
isn't that something?
Yes.
Small world. So, so that's how I became a real estate broker. And then I opened an office in Ferndale. It was a small, 2-room office. And right around that time, I had 2 daughters, had 2 children. So it was real convenient for me to be in real estate too, because I could bring them along
And set your own hours.
and set my own hours, and I could be at their schools and deal with all of the issues there. And I was also president of the parent organizations at all of their schools because of that, because I was a business owner. And once I got my feet wet in Ferndale, I had a listing of a client who had a commercial building, and I was renting space in a commercial building at the time. And then I said, well, why am I renting this commercial space when I have a commercial space for sale, right?
not just
A
buy it.
building, right? So I'm like, okay, if other folks can own buildings, I can too.
There you go.
And so I took the equity out of my home, and I had a little savings, and I purchased my first building, and that's where my company is to this day.
Wow.
23 years
Years
later.
Isn't that wonderful?
Still in business, yes.
But it took the nerve to do it, first of all, because that is not an easy thing to do.
Yes.
And then it took the foresight to think about it. I can own my own stuff. I don't have to rent from somebody. I can do my own thing.
That's right.
That's absolutely incredible. Now, but you didn't talk about some of the other things you are. You are a veteran.
I am a
And
veteran.
so that's
I
a
am
wonderful
a veteran.
part. You are a veteran.
Yes, and that was before my real estate days. When I was in college, struggling through college, I ended up joining the military to help me get through college.
Smart.
And it worked. It
worked.
worked. Paid my way through, and it also gave me the discipline and the tenacity and just so many hurry up and wait, that's one of the terms we use. It gave me patience
Yes.
because in the military you had to hurry up and wait, just wait, and
had to have
sit there
patience.
and wait your turn, and that gave me the perseverance that I needed when I ran for office.
Things
to
come
wait.
along when they're supposed to.
Exactly.
You were being taught early on what you were going to need to be able to succeed at your goal, and you did it.
And that's what it taught me. It taught me to be patient and wait, and it all happens in God's time.
Absolutely.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's a good story, and young people need to hear that story, that you don't have to get everything right away. This feeling that, I've got to hurry up and do this, the microwave mentality that I've got to hurry up and get this done. I can't put this in the oven and let it cook the way it's supposed to. I've got to hurry up and put it in the microwave so it only takes me 3 minutes instead of the 30 minutes it's supposed to take. And so that is such a lesson that young people need to hear and young people need to learn. That things will come, but you've got to have it in God's time.
That's right.
And then he does it in his own time because he knows best.
Yeah, and I think it's important for them too to know that you have to try things to really see what you like or what you dislike. And so I kind of failed my way through life in a lot of cases. I tried a little bit of this, tried a little bit of that, and that made me stronger in areas that I didn't know I was strong in.
And failure isn't always a bad thing.
Oh, it wasn't at all. It wasn't.
It isn't always a bad thing. And again, sometimes young people need to know that just because you fail once, it may be setting you up for your success. But you might have needed to make that failure so you could learn some things and grow from that and use that for your next step.
That's right. And that's exactly what happened to me as a commissioner. I ran and I ran and I ran and I ran and I finally won. But each time that I ran for commissioner, I met a lot of good people, a lot of good friends, learned a whole lot of lessons.
Yes.
A lot of lessons of what to do and what not to do.
And who to talk to.
And who not to.
Talk.
That's
and
right.
who to listen to and who not to listen to.
Exactly. So failure definitely is a good way to learn.
Absolutely.
Good way to learn.
Absolutely. Now, education-wise, what did you get your degree in?
Well, I started out at, it was DCB at the time, Detroit College of Business. And then I decided, after I joined I take that back. I started in Kalamazoo. I ended up graduating from Detroit College of Business. I started at Western Michigan University and then transferred back here And that was right after I joined the military. Then I came home and went to DCB, and then went to Wash College. Both of my degrees are in business.
Okay.
Business administration. Both, like I said, in my master's degree is in business as well. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And again, it tied back to what I do every day. You know, I'm a business owner, and that just going through school gave me the knowledge to be in business, the classes that I needed, the accounting, the ethics and business is important, especially when you're dealing with people and their money.
Exactly.
And, you know, that's so vitally important, because there's so many times that people would offer me, you know, things that I really knew were wrong to do. But some of that background and the classes that I had helped with that. And then my family, my mother and my father, they were the best teachers for me. You know, my father would always say, you know, you treat people like you want to be treated.
Yes.
And if it is to be, it is up to me. That was one of those things he continuously hammered in my life. And so I owe it to them. And then my grandmother. My grandmother was, she was the numbers lady.
Oh, we
So
all
she
had
was,
one.
yes, back in the day. I'm
We all had
telling
one.
on it,
Ah,
but
that's
you know,
all right.
that was back in the
The
day.
little carbon copy penny
Yes,
sheets.
the horse races,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And so she was a business lady
In her own right.
in her own right, and
That's,
and
people
and I
don't
would.
remember the numbers people put a lot of people through college.
That's right.
Put a lot of folks
That's
through
right.
school. So, you know,
That's
and
right.
I grew up in Royal Oak Township, and the numbers people put a lot of people through school and took care of a lot of people when families were laid off.
That's right.
And people didn't have jobs. The numbers man and the numbers lady took care of a whole lot of people.
And she did. She did. Anytime the community needed something, they would just call Miss Katie Bell Croft. They would call her, you know, and she would do it, and she was the bank for the community. They needed a loan, they would come to her. So I watched this little old lady do a lot of awesome things in the community, and her heart was so open, and she was just such a blessing to the community. You know, my family makes me who I am today.
Absolutely.
And just watching all of that, it taught me to give back, you know, to be generous and you know, to not only take but also give. You
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you talk about family. I have to give a shout out to my great nephew who's graduating from high school. And Friday night was the prom send off. And you know, the prom send offs these days are just
Amazing.
I mean, they are just an event unto themselves. And his mother is so good at arranging things and making things just look wonderful. And so he looked so nice. I mean, he had on this I guess royal blue sparkly jacket with black pants, and you know they don't wear socks anymore. Had these pants with no socks and these
Right.
wonderful looking shoes. But he looked so nice with his white shirt and his bow tie. He looked so nice. But he is truly a blessing. This is my brother's son's oldest son. Both my brother and his son both have passed away. But
sorry
you
to
know,
hear that.
family was just important to us, and so we were all out there for his send off, and it was just such a great. Because I mean, would have thought it was a block party,
Right.
cars all up and down the street, all these
wow.
people. It was just
A
it was
celebration.
a celebration. It was so wonderful. He looked so good. He's graduating from Belleville High School, so and he's going to be an Eagle Scout. He gets his Eagle Scout badge and all of the ceremony on next Friday at New Prospect Missionary Baptist Church.
All right.
But he is going to be an Eagle Scout, which is really quite an achievement for Scouts. So we're just so proud of him. Mr. Noah Talbert is his name. He's My wonderful great
Congratulations.
nephew Noah Talbot. Yeah, it's to be
Yes.
applauded. But he's just a good kid. And when you see young men these
Oh,
days
young men, yes.
who are doing well, you
Yes.
just have to thank God and applaud them because he
Yes.
could have been doing a whole lot, and
Yeah.
especially with his father having passed when he was still an early teen. You know, you have to really give a lot of goodness to his mom
Yes,
and the whole
definitely.
family because he is a wonderful young man, a wonderful young man.
Yeah.
So let us take a break right now. We're going to come back in about 2 minutes to talk to you about a few other things. So listen to this great song that they're going to play for you right now. Welcome back to the Community Bell Show with our wonderful guest this afternoon, Wayne County Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick. She's Commissioner for the 6th District. And Commissioner McCormick, where is the 6th District?
The 6th District of Wayne County, and by the way, we have 15 different commissioners, Wayne County commissioners that represent 43 different communities. So my community, which is far northwest Detroit, starts at Myers and 8 Mile. And if you take Myers all the way west, it goes just past Telegraph to 5 Point, where Retford begins. My district stops. And then from 8 Mile Road over to Finkel and Grand River area,
Okay.
back up to Myers. So that's my square, and that's where I was born and raised. Each of the Detroit public schools that I attended We're right there in that square. From Alex Dow to Ludington to Henry Ford High School. Any Trojans out there? Yeah, so that's my square.
Okay. And how many people does that represent?
The commissioners district, most of them are in equal parts, which is about 150,000 people in each of the 15 different commissioners districts. Yeah.
And people don't know that. This is information that people need to know, that they're 15, they're all, that 1.8 million people I talked about are split 15 different ways.
That's right.
And that's how they get those 15 different commissioners. Interestingly enough, there was a time when Detroit had 7 commissioners that represented Detroit. But because of the population drop, they only have 5 now.
Right, and that's why the census is very important,
That's right.
because the representation that we get from the Congress, congressional leaders to the local leaders are all based on our numbers. So it's very
real
important.
And I said 5. Actually, there's 7, but the other 2 represent some of Detroit, and then the outlying areas. One of them represents the east side, and he has Harper Woods, the Grosse Pointes, and Detroit. And the other one has Melvindale and the southwest part of Detroit.
Right.
But for those who have just Detroit, there are 5 of them. So it's important. That's one of the important reasons you gotta be counted, because as the population shifts and as people move out,
That's right.
the numbers decrease, then you have a decrease in representation. So
right.
it is just so important that people recognize the numbers. As I said before, you don't have to worry about the confidentiality. Nobody's going to look at your material and do anything to you. It's important you know that, and how important it is that that $1,800 per person for the next 10 years, we lose that because you didn't get counted. So get counted, get counted. Okay, Commissioner, talk about your commission district and some of the things you're doing in your commission district.
So one of the things that has always concerned me, even before I was a commissioner, was trash and blight in our community. So I decided to start this initiative called the War on Trash.
Okay.
War on Trash. And it's an educational clean green initiative.
Okay.
So, we just had Motor City Makeover, and so what that is we all get together and we go clean up. Well, every year we do this. We clean up in our community, and then 2 or 3 weeks later,
It looks like you never cleaned it.
you never cleaned it, right. So I said, we have to do something about changing the mindset
Absolutely.
of how people think. And we should start changing the mindset at a young age.
Exactly.
So I met with Dr. Vitti, the superintendent of DPS, and asked him if we could start a pilot program called the War on Trash in some of the District 6 schools. So we're starting in Cook Elementary, Emerson, Ludington, and Burns.
Oh, good.
Burns Elementary. And the idea is to instill in young people, elementary students, how they should love where they live. And don't stop and drop. Don't stop your car and drop anything out the window.
Yes.
Don't stop while you're walking and drop anything. Don't stop and drop. And it was so funny that I went to a school, it was Burns actually, and I was there with some kindergartners. And I told them about this whole concept of the war on trash. And so I said, so what are we going to go home and tell our parents? They were like, don't stop and drop. Don't stop and drop. And they caught on so quickly. And the whole point of it is for them to go home and tell their parents, tell their mother and father, don't
Big
you
brothers
stop.
and sisters
And
and-
book brothers and sisters, don't you stop and don't you drop. Don't you put anything out the window. And so now is an educational piece, not only for the kids, but they
For
can
the
go
adults.
and teach their parents.
Exactly. And you know, it's interesting. There's a verse in the Bible that says, train up a child in the way they should go.
Yes.
And when they are old, they will not depart from it. So when we start training them early, they
Makes a
will carry
difference.
that with them. And they won't do it, which will start a generation, we hope, of young people and older people who won't throw stuff out the window or won't throw stuff out on the lawn. But, you know, interestingly enough, many years ago, I went to a training at Disney World in Florida. And that's Disneyland or Disney World, one of the Disneys. And they have, people always ask, well, why is it always so clean here? They did a study that said people will carry a piece of paper 18 feet, and if they don't have some place to drop it, they'll drop it on the ground. And so
right.
they have trash cans every 18 feet
Yeah.
at Disneyland, and that's how they keep it so clean.
And that's so funny that you would say that, because that's the other component of the war on trash, is that we're looking at getting at least 500 trash cans. And they're like the ones they have downtown. And they will be covered with the war on trash. And we're getting communities to buy into it, community
And
block clubs.
Yes, and let them advertise their community block club on the trash can, like they do
can.
downtown.
And they can adopt that trash can and
Yes.
take ownership of it and help to maintain it.
Absolutely.
In addition to that, we are also asking businesses to do the same. So you have a business, you can adopt this trash can here
Yes.
in front of your business and make sure that your area is clean. So you're right on point with that.
Perfect.
Trash can. We need more of them.
We need more,
And I do know that the mayor, I spoke with the mayor about it. He's like, okay, that sounds great, whatever we can do, but they won't maintain all
Exactly.
of those trash cans. So we have to get the
And
community to
they
buy
shouldn't.
in.
The community ought to be doing some of this, because
That's right.
the people in the community are the ones who are throwing the trash on the ground.
Yes.
And as we
Yeah.
train the
That's
children to not do it,
The adults.
the adults hopefully won't do it.
Amen.
And so it's a training process that we train the children, and they'll help the adults do the right thing too.
That's our hope.
Yes,
That's our hope.
we're going to keep a good thought. We're just going to
Yes.
claim it. It's going to be.
Amen.
That's what it's going to be. We're just going to
Amen.
claim that because it's
Amen.
important.
Yes.
It is important. What's going on else is going on in District 6?
So the other initiative, when I was running for commissioner, I would get the question all the time in the district, what does a commissioner do? What is your job, And so I decided to start a series called Getting to Know Wayne County. And that series is just that. We're making sure that we bring Wayne County into the community so that the community can get to know all of the various resources in Wayne County. So the first Getting to Know Wayne County series, we had Eric Sabri, Wayne County Treasurer. I thought that was the most important.
Exactly, especially this time of year when foreclosures are coming up.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I wanted people to know their county treasurer, to know that Wayne County has resources to help them stay in their home. We don't just collect taxes. We do have services. We have a $1.6 billion budget. 1.6 billion would it be? Dollar budget. And we have to get more of those resources into our communities. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do the Getting to Know Wayne County. And then the other thing, I just recently opened a Wayne County Commission District 6 office. That was the first one that we've had in District 6. And I thought it was important for people to be able to come right in the community to get that information that they pay for, right? They pay for this information, and they don't know half of the resources that Wayne County have. So each time we have a Getting to Know Wayne County series, we'll bring another part of Wayne County into the community. So we continuously are feeding the community the resources and information.
Excellent. And when bringing Sabri in as the first one is so important because people don't know that the only money Wayne County gets is from taxes, from your property taxes. That's all they get. They don't get income tax. They don't get any other taxes. All they get are property taxes. So if you don't pay your property taxes, Wayne County doesn't have enough money to service you. We're talking about the courts, the jails, the sheriffs, all those important things that we need to provide to people. They don't have enough money if you don't pay your taxes. That's the only money they get is through property taxes.
That is so correct. And so, again, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start with Sabri, because I thought it was important. And I think people don't know that we can help them stay in their home. If you're having issues paying your taxes, don't just give up and walk away. We have programs that will help folks stay in their homes, and we don't want you to lose your home, especially not for a couple of $1,000, you know, and your house is paid off, and then you walk away for, you know, it doesn't make sense, not at all. So call us. Reach out to your commissioner, whether it be myself or other commissioners. Feel free to give us a call.
Wonderful, wonderful. We are going to close right now, but before we do that, I do want to send our condolences to the Diggs family. Douglas Diggs made his transition this past week on Friday. For those of you who don't know, Douglas Diggs was a businessman in Detroit, but he was also the son of Charles Diggs, who was the first African American elected to Congress from Michigan. And his mother, Anna Diggs Taylor, first black woman appointed as a federal judge in Michigan. So Charles Diggs was the first African American congressman in Michigan. So lots of history there, He made his transition last Friday. Young man.
Only 55.
Yes, 55. Died of a massive stroke. Just very, very sad. So our blessings go out to him and his family. So just everybody keep them in prayer.
Yes, it was very sad to hear that. Just also a reminder that as I told you before, I am a veteran of the United States Army, and Memorial's Day is next weekend. I want to thank all of those veterans out there for your service, and I have decided to have a Memorial's Day ceremony, and we're going to unveil a mural on the wall that celebrates our veterans in Northwest Detroit. Anyone is, welcome.
Where is it going to be unveiled?
It's actually going to be at the district office.
Oh, wonderful. Tell them where the district office is.
At 20169 James Cousins, right at Greenfield and James Cousins, which is the service drive of the Lodge Freeway. And that will be at 5 o'clock on Memorial's Day. And we're just, again, honoring all of those veterans out there, especially if you live in my district. I will hope you will stop by and see the beautiful artwork that we'll have displayed.
That would be great. Now talk about the Veterans Department at Wayne County, because if people don't know, there is a Veterans Department there, and how they might be able to help veterans.
Yes, and I am on the special committee for veterans and seniors, so it is dear to my heart. We do have a lot of services for veterans, and we will provide that information as well at the Memorial Day celebration. But we have assistance for burial needs. If anyone is short on their rents or their mortgage, we can assist with that. Health-related resources for veterans, right? For veterans. So feel free to contact us. We can definitely help you with the resources. If we don't have the resources, then we can connect you to resources such as the VA and other organizations that can help veterans.
Wonderful. And it's so important that we remember those people who left their lives and went to take care of us miles and thousands of miles away, and they've come back home, and we treat them like they're just throwaways. We've got to find a better way to do that. We've got to find a better way to take care of veterans' health, housing, families, all those things that make a community. They're part of the community. So we've got to find a way to help them a lot more than we have in the past.
How do the veterans contact her? How do they contact her?
So you can reach me at 313-224-0884. Again, that's 313-224-0884.
All right, veterans, if you need that kind of help, please contact. And don't not do it because you think nobody wants to help you. There are people who want to help all over the place. I just give you an example of a group I work with, Home Team Holdings. We've got a nonprofit 501c3, and we're trying to find ways to help veterans and everyone else, but trying to find ways to help people with housing. And so that 501c3 with Home Team Community Foundation is one that's looking to help folk help themselves. So don't sit back and think nobody wants to help you. There are lots and lots of people who love you and want to help you. So we have to make sure that that word gets out to people, that call the number, ask the question. We'll find some people somewhere to help you, whatever that means. We'll find some people that will help you, because that is such an important piece. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on Community Bell. We've been just delighted to have Wayne County Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick, who's a veteran and a woman business owner and all that, and wrapped up in one big ball of success. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well,
we are so happy to have had you, and we'd like to have you back so you can report on how your trash initiative is going.
Definitely. Thank you
so
so much.
As that goes along, you will come back and talk to us about how those things are going. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you next week on Community Bell. Have a great week.
To recession, depression, and employment. This song's for you.
Today's a new day, but there is no sunshine. Nothing but clouds, and it's dark in my heart, and it feels like a cold night. Today's a new day, but where are my blue skies? Where is the love and the joy that you promised me? Tell me it's alright.
I'll be honest with you.
I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain fell from heaven like a shower down.
When I think how much better I'm gonna be when this is over.
I smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while,
What you do?
I smile,
Come on and
smile. It's so hard to look up when you've been down. Sure hate to see you give up now.
God's people.
You look so much better when you smile. So smile.
Now every day ain't gonna be perfect, but it still don't mean today don't have purpose. Come on.
Today's a new day, but there is no sunshine. Nothing but clouds, and it's dark in my heart, and it feels like a cold night.
It ain't easy, but
Today's a new day, but tell me where are my blue skies?
where's that love, y'all?
Where is the love, the joy that you promised me? Tell me it's alright.
The truth is,
I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain
that Holy Ghost power, y'all.
fell from heaven like a shower down.
people say, I say, and while you're waiting, yeah, and while you're praying, look in the mirror. Always remember, come on, I almost gave up, but that Holy Ghost power, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Community Bell with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. This broadcast is brought to you by WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, tell a friend to tune in. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern for the Community Bell Show, right here on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Services including facials, some body waxing, and light massages. Make your appointment today. Don't miss our eyebrow special. You and a friend can receive 2 eyebrows waxes for $18. Tie and Staff inside the Mark Roberts Experience Salon.
WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users.
The Bible tells us that when we go through life situations, that He will be with us always. So don't you be afraid.